This is the story about how I came to know how wrong I was about social justice. Also, how wrong I was about the ERLC run by Russell Moore and the pro-life movement itself. The names have not been changed here because I want to give credit where credit is certainly due. First, let's go back to last week. Last week I was angry when I saw the article Call to Pause. I made a video about it, if you remember. I said in the video that there would be no compromise. I said in the video that the call to pause was wrong and that we would not surrender and that we were winning the culture wars. In fact, I will take your call to pause and I will take it as a call to put the pressure on, turn the heat up, because it sounds like we're winning. But afterwards, I thought about what the call to pause said, and especially where it said that we needed to listen more to our minority brothers and sisters in Christ. As a minority myself, I knew that I couldn't just ask other people just like me, because I've seen many times where these social justice-minded Christians would say, hey, you should not listen to people just like you. I knew I couldn't just listen to other Puerto Ricans. I knew I couldn't just ask black people what they thought, because after all, Puerto Ricans are more of a minority than black people in this country. And also, I'm part Nigerian, so I couldn't learn anything new by just listening to other African Americans, seeing as I'm also African American. So I had to find someone that was even more a minority of myself. In fact, after I reflected on this for a long time, I realized that humans themselves were the majority in the church. And so what I needed to do, if I was going to learn and really lean in and listen, I needed to check my human privilege. I knew what I had to do. I knew who I had to talk to. The ultimate church minority. Non-human, animal, Christians. I searched far and wide. I tried to figure out which is the best animal Christian that I could find. And I found him. Yeah, so what do you think about American evangelicalism? Oh, interesting. I never quite thought about it that way before. You know, I'm glad we had this talk. After talking it over with Echo, I knew that I was wrong last week. It actually is pro-life. It's a pro-life issue to make sure that the president does not appoint a judge that will overturn Roe versus Wade. No, not at all. Allowing states to ban abortion will only lead to more abortions. We need to keep killing babies safe and legal if we're going to truly be pro-life. So I'd come to some conclusions about my previous work on YouTube, and for a moment I was satisfied. I was preparing, a little bit begrudgingly, but I was preparing to shut down my YouTube channel. I had been wrong about social justice warriors, and I was willing to walk away from it all and go quietly. But then, an anonymous Facebook friend sent me a video from the ERLC that literally changed my life. The footage was shoddy, and I could only make out parts of it, but instantly I realized the importance of what I was watching. I managed to find a cleaner copy of the video where I could make out everything that was being said in its entirety, and here is what I saw.
Well, it's one of those more interesting issues that the pro-life movement doesn't generally take up, but I've done a little bit in my own work on this, and I think non-human animals, though obviously not as important as human animals, merit our serious attention. They're also vulnerable. They're also voiceless. They also are pushed to the margins because they're inconvenient, interestingly, just like prenatal children are. And there's a growing number of people who are pro-life in that they're anti-abortion, but also pro-life and they want to stand up for the dignity of non-human animals. And that's a leading edge, a growing edge, if you will, of the pro-life movement in 2018.
And just like that, I knew. Appointing a liberal progressive judge was a pro-life issue. But also, assigning animals human rights was also a pro-life issue. In fact, it's the cutting edge of pro-life. All all of these issues were pro-life, and I wanted to be consistent. Every progressive liberal talking point was literally a pro-life issue, and the church, up until now, has been on the wrong side of history. We need to get on board with all of the socialists. Not just the welfare, not just universal living wages, not just universal health care, but everything. The church needs to let toddlers pick their gender. That is necessary to maintain a pro-life stance. Banning dangerous guns and dangerous straws also is necessary. Raising tax rates, taxing soda, work bans for low-skilled workers, all of it is necessary to maintain a consistent pro-life position. We need to make sure we nationalize the means of production, make sure that goods are distributed fairly. Drab clothing and uniforms for all of our comrades are necessary, just so nobody stands out, because when people dress nicely, that, of course, marginalizes the poor and the oppressed. We need to make sure that we're rationing food, just to make sure that we have equitable distribution of food. You know what? Death squads. They're needed to maintain order and to preserve life. Gulags, likewise, necessary. You must be pro-gulag to be pro-life. Truly. I had been wrong this whole time, and I knew it. And I had to tell the world about it. I did not want to be on the wrong side of history. Not anymore. The reality is that socialism is the only way to be consistently pro-life. And we have seen this in history time and time again. I ask you, the church, take this man seriously. Take these organizations seriously, because we do not want to ruin our Christian witness by standing for liberty and freedom, the tools of the oppressor. I hope this was helpful. Take care.